Hello everyone, welcome to the Mercury Virtual. Hope you are doing good. Today I am going to continue with your same module, that is object-oriented programming, but with the new chapter, that is chapter number 13, exception handling. In the last class we have finished with chapter number 12, that is how to work with the template, or what is a template, what is the difference between the function template and the class template. So today I'm going to start with the new topic, new chapter, that is the exception handling, and this is one of the important chapter in way of practical part, in way of theoretical part, right? So let's start with the chapter number 13, that is the exception handling. This is the introduction to this one, that is what is the exception first of all and how to handle them. So in simple terms, exceptions means any error that occurs in a programming. So there are two words, exception handling. How to handle the exception, that is known as the exception handling. Now question arises, what is the exception? That is any error, or there are different types of error that is available in C++ in a programming language, that is known as the exception. We will see what are the those types of error, but see in simple terms, exception means a bugs or the error that is found in the programming languages, and handling means how to handle. So how to handle the exception, that is known as the exception handling, right? So let's start with the introduction, that what is exception and what is exception handling. This is we know that it is very rare that a program works correctly first time, because we are human beings. We must try it, we must get it for compilation part, for error part, for we can say we can hit and try for different parts. So we know that it is very rare that programs works correctly first time. So it is very rare that a program works correctly for the first time, because there are so many errors that is available in this one. It might have some bugs. Now what is a bugs? That is a error. So in programming language it is known as the bugs. So bugs and the errors are the same part, that is the bugs. The two most common types of bugs. So there are two most common types of bugs that is available. One is the logic errors and one is the syntactic error. So one term is used as a bug, one term is used as an error. So there is little bit difference between the bugs and the error from the point of view of system, but from the point of view of programming, there is no difference between the bugs and the error. I'm repeating again, from the point of view of system analysis, that is a different you can say the different technique, different topic. There is a little bit difference between the bugs and the error, but I'm not going to the system part because we are studying the programming, right? But in programming there is a same concept, that that is there is no difference between the bug and the error. So this says the two most common types of bugs are logic errors and the syntactic errors. So two bugs are available, two errors are available. One is the logical errors, one is the syntactic errors. The logic errors occurs due to poor understanding of the problem. Uh, Suppose I am writing one program, but I don't know how to use a for loop. There is a semicolon that is missing. There is a colon that is missing. There is a curly braces that is missing. That is known as the logical error. So the logic errors occurs due to poor understanding of the problem. I am not getting the proper understanding. I have a poor understanding of the problem and the solution procedure. For from this point or for that sake, logical errors occurs. The syntactic error occurs due to poor understanding of the language itself. So one is a logic error, one is a syntactic error. Logic means semicolon missing, there is a problem with the curly braces, and any silly mistakes errors are known as the logical errors. In the same way, syntactic errors that arise due to poor understanding of the programming. Suppose I don't know the concepts of the object oriented language. I don't know how to write the program, how to use the objects classes. That is known as syntactic error. So there are two types of error that are known as exceptions in C++. One is a logical errors, one is a syntactic error. And it is very difficult to find these errors in the program, because these are based on the logic errors. If I am applying one logic, you don't know what is my logic, what is my idea, right? In the same way, syntactic error means there is a different there is some error on the syntax part. Suppose I have to use the syntax for loop. There is a initialization, there is a condition, there is a increment or decrement, but I am not using that one. So that is known as a syntactic error. So it is easy to find out the syntactic error, but it is very difficult to find out the logical errors. Why? Because everyone has a different logic. But syntactic errors, why it is very or why it is easy to find out? Because every syntax is same, for loop is same, while loop is same, right? So the syntactic errors arise due to poor understanding of the language itself. We can detect these errors by using exhaustive debugging and testing procedures. That is, it is able to detect these errors by using the exhaustive debugging. There is a concept debugging. One is a bug, that is an error, and for removation of the, or for remover of the bugs, that there is a concept that is a debugging. So for removing the error, detecting the error, we have a concept, so we have a technique that is used, that is a debugging and the testing procedures. We often come across some peculiar problems other than the logic or syntactic errors. So other than these, there are two, or other than these errors, there are more error that is available, more problem that is available other than the logic or syntax error. They are known as the exceptions. So beyond the logic and the syntactic error, else every error or else every part is known as the exception. So these are the two errors that is not a part of the exceptions, else every error, every problem that is occur, or that is occurred in the programming, occurred in a C++, that is known as the exceptions. So we often come across some problems other than the logic or syntax error that are known as exceptions, right? Exceptions are runtime anomalies or unusual conditions that a program may encounter while executing. It is one of the important lines. I'm repeating again. Exceptions are runtime anomalies or unusual conditions that a program may encounter while executing. So exceptions are runtime anomalies. That is, they are executing, or they occur at the runtime. While the program is running, they occur at that time. These are runtime anomalies or unusual condition. That is, unusual condition means a condition that is not usual, that is not find out in on a temporary, on a regular basis. That is unusual, not usual conditions that a program may encounter while executing. So these are runtime errors at the time of execution. These are executed, or these are, or these found, these errors are found. So these are the runtime anomalies or unusual conditions that a program may encounter while executing. Anomalies might include conditions such as division by zero. So now, what are the different exceptions, or what are the runtime anomalies that is available? That might include the conditions such as division by zero, access to an array outside of its bound, or running out of memory or disk space. So one of the runtime anomalies is division by zero. So whenever I divide any number by zero, that gives the infinity. But in programming subject, it gives the error. So it gives the error in a programming subject whenever we divide by 0. So that is known as a runtime anomaly. That is division by 0. Next, access to an array outside of its bound. For example, I am declaring the array as a 5, but I access these values, or access the value of an array as a 6th element. But that is not possible because we have already declared the array as a 5. So whenever I want to access the array beyond its or outside of its bounds, bounds means the limit that we declare, that is also known as runtime anomaly, or that is also known as exception. So two examples we have covered, that is division by 0, and one is accessing the array elements beyond the bound. Next, running out of memory or disk space. Suppose I have a limited memory of the 2 GB, but I want to store the program that is a 4 GB. That is also an error. There is an error, there is exception that shows that there is no space in the memory. That is also an error or the exception. So anomalies includes division by 0, access to an array outside of its bound, or running out of the memory or disk space. When a program encounters an exceptional condition, so when a program declares or detects an exceptional condition, it is important that it is identified and dealt with effectively. So when a program encounters, or when a program has a we can say the exceptions, exceptional condition, then it is very important to identify these conditions and remove them with the use of the exceptional handling, or handle them very effectively by the concept of the exceptional handling. ANSI C++ provides built-in language features to detect and handle exceptions, which are basically runtime error. So ANSI C++ have a capability, have a features to detect and handle the exceptions, which are basically runtime error. So there is a provision that is provided by the exceptions, that is how to use them or how to access them or how to gather them in exception. So ANSI C++ provides built-in language features to detect and handle exceptions, which are basically runtime errors. Now, next paragraph says exception handling was not a part of the original C++. That is, when the C++ was developed, that is not at that time, that is exception handling is not available. It is a new feature that is added to the entire C++ today. That is, it is very recent feature that is available in C++. Today, almost all compilers support this feature. That is, every compiler has exception handling. That is, there is a provision to handle the exception. C++ exception handling provides a type-safe integrated approach for coping with the unusual predictable problem that arises while executing a problem. So C++ provides a type-safe integrated approach that is used while using the problems that arise while executing a program. Then next is basics of exception handling. That is, what are the various basics of exception handling, how to use the exception handling, that is the basics. So exceptions are of two kinds. That is, there are two types of exceptions. One is known as synchronous exceptions, one is known as the asynchronous exceptions. There are two types of synchronous in C++. There are two types of exceptions in C++. One is the synchronous exceptions, one is the asynchronous exceptions. Errors such as out of range, overflow belongs to the synchronous. So if I am accessing the array elements beyond its bound, or there is an overflow, that is known as the synchronous type exceptions. The errors which are caused by event beyond the control of the program are known as the asynchronous. That is, if there is any error that are occurred or that is caused by events that is beyond the control of the program, that is such as keyboard interrupt. That is, if there is any keyboard interrupt and my program is not executing, that is a asynchronous error. So on which we have a control, that is a internal, that is known as a synchronous. On which we do not have a control, like keyboard interrupt, that is known as a asynchronous exception. So there are two types of exceptions, synchronous and asynchronous. The proposed exception handling mechanism in C++ is designed to handle only synchronous exception. That is, we are focusing only on the synchronous exception, not on the asynchronous exceptions. Why? Because if there is a keyboard interrupt, we do not have any program software that is used to develop any, or that is used to handle the exceptions. No, there is no way. Simply plug in the or plug out the keyboard and plug in the new keyboard. That is the only method. But in C++, the exception handling only cares of the synchronous exception. Now, next paragraph says the purpose of the exception handling mechanism is to provide means to detect and report an exceptional circumstance. That is, what is the main purpose? That is how to detect and report an exceptional circumstance so that appropriate action can be taken. That is, there will be a proper or appropriate action that would be taken. The mechanism that suggests a separate error handling code that performs the following tasks. That is, these are the various error handling code that is used. That is, there are different tasks that is used to handle the error, that is known as the exception handling mechanism. That is a mechanism that is used. The first point says find the problem. So first of all, while handling the exception, first of all find the problem. That is, what is the problem in the program? What is the error in the program? That is, hit the exception. Then inform that an error has occurred. So first of all, find out the problem, then inform the compiler that is error has occurred. That is known as the throw the exception. The first is the hit, then is the throw. Then receive the error information. So first of all hit, then throw, then receives the error information. Why this error has occurred? What is the logic behind this error? That is, receives the error information. That is the catching the exception. Then fourth one is take corrective actions. That is, take the corrective actions that is available for the error handling. That is the take corrective actions. So first of all, find the problem, that is hit the exception, then inform that an error has occurred, that is throw an exception, then receive the error information, that is catch the exception. So one is hit, then throw, then catch, then at last there is a take corrective actions, that is a handle the program. So there are four parts: hit, throw, catch, handle, right? The error handling code basically consists of two segments, one to detect the error and one to throw the exceptions, and other to catch the exceptions and to take appropriate actions. So there are two segments, one to detect and throw, and one to catch and take appropriate action. So these four are divided into two parts. One is for the first 2 points, that is finding the problem, hitting the problem, and throw the problem or throw the exception. And second point includes last 2 points, that is receive the, that is catch the exception and take the corrective action, that is handle the exception. Now next is exception handling mechanism, that is how to handle the mechanism or how to handle the exception, that is a mechanism that is used, that is represented in a diagrammatical form. So C++ exception handling mechanism is basically built upon three keywords. So there are three keywords that is used in the exception handling mechanism. What are the three keywords? One is try, one is throw, one is catch. So there are three keywords: try, throw, and the catch. Next, the keyword try is used to prefer a block of statements which may generate exceptions. So try is used as a, or is used to preface, that is it is used to denote a block of statements that is surrounded by the braces, in the same way that we have done in the, or we have written in the program, the function name, then curly braces. So in the same way, the try is used to preface a block of statements which that is surrounded by the braces which may generate exceptions. This block of statement is known as a try block. So whenever we use the block of statements that is more than one statements in a curly braces, that is known as a try block. When an exception is detected, so till now we are identifying the problem, we are identifying the exception. Now when an exception is detected, it is thrown using a throw statement. So whenever we encountered or whenever we encountered an exception that is detected, then we use the throw statement in the try block, that is handle or throwing the or passing the exception. Then next is a catch block, that is defined by the catches the exception thrown by the throw statement. So catch statement, we can say the catch statement catches the exception that is thrown by the throw statement in the try block. So one is thrown, then catches, and handle hits appropriately, that is it handles hits in an appropriate manner, right? So one is the try, then throw, then catch, then handle. So these are the four parts. First of all, try, then it is throwing the exception, then it catches the exception, and then it handles the exception in a polite way, in an appropriate manner. So this is a try block, this is detecting and throwing the exception, this is a catch block, this is catches and handle the exception. So this is also divided into two parts. The first 2 points are in the try block and the last 2 points in the next block, that is a catch block. So there are two blocks, one is a try that includes the try and the throw, one is a catch that includes the catch and the handle, right? The next paragraph says the catch block that catches an exception must immediately follow the try block. That is the catch block that catches the exception. So this is catched by the catch block, this arrow. that is immediately follow the try block. So this is the try block, immediately it is occupied, or it is given to the catch block that throws the exception. The general form of these two blocks are as follows. So now what is the general form? What is the syntax that is used? This is the program, any program. Then there is a try block, that is a how to or finding the problem, that is a try block. Then there is a throw exception, that is a throw exception means passing the exception, that is a throwing the exception. Then this is a throw exception, that is a block of statements which detects and throws an exception. Then there is a catch, that is a catching the block, that is a type org or type argument that catches the exception. Then again this is the curly braces, this is the closing curly braces. This says the block of statement that handles the exception. So one is the block of statement which detects and throws an exception. Next is a block of statements that handles the exception that is available in the catch block. So this is the syntax. There is a try, there is a curly braces, then there is a throw exception, then in a catch there is a type, there is an argument, there is a curly braces that is used. So when a try block throws an exception, the program controls leaves the try block. So whenever it passes the or it throws the exception, it is passed to the the control leaves from the try block and enters the catch statement. So it enters in the catch statement of the catch block. Note that the exceptions are objects that are used to transmit around the problem. So exceptions are nothing but the block, or we can say the object that is running between the different blocks, that is a try block, throw block and the catch block. Note that the exceptions are the object that is used to transmit the information about a problem. If the type of the object that throws, or if the type of the object that thrown matches the argument in the catch block. So if the type of the object that is thrown matches in the catch block, then catch block is executed for handling the exception. So first of all it passes or it throws, and if it is matching in the catch block, that is it is available in the catch block, then it is used for or it is executing for or executed for handling the exception. If there is no match, that is the try block and the throw block and the catch block, the instruction or the program that is thrown, the instruction or the program or the object that is thrown does not match in the catch block, that is there is no, we can say the no inquiry, no solution of the problem in the catch block, that is they are not matching in the catch block, then the program is aborted, that is finished with the help of the abort function. That is, a program is aborted means we can say the shut down or slow down the program, or closes the program which is invoked by default. So it is on the basis of the throw. If it is available in the cache, then only it is executed, otherwise it is aborted the program using the abort function, that is by default. We are not giving any abort function. When no exception is detected and thrown, that is if there is no exception that is detected and thrown, the control goes to the statement immediately after the catch block. So if there is no exception that is detected, the control automatically goes to the statement immediately after the catch block. That is, the catch block is skipped. This simple try catch mechanism is illustrated in program 13.1. That is the next program. This is the, I think, 13.1. Yeah, this is the 13.1. So this is the example of the try and the throw, or try catch mechanism. So let's start. First of all, there is a try block that throws an exception. This is the heading that throws an exception. First of all, there is a hash include IO stream. That is a header file that is used. Then using name space std. That is the same, that is a namespace standard will be used. Then there will be a int main, that is the starting of the main that is used. And then int ab, two variables are defined or declared, that is a and the b. Right. Then cout, for printing purpose, enter the values of a and b. So now enter the values of the a and B. Then C in A, C in B. So first of all, simply display the line, that is enter the values of A and B. Then C in A, C in B, that is scanning into the memory, that is the A and the B values are scanned, right? Then int x equals to A minus B. Now new variable will be declared, that is x, that is used to calculate A minus B. That is A minus B means subtracting the values of B from the A, right? Then try block will be used, that is a try block means the handling the problem will be used. Just give me 1 minute or 2 minutes, I'm just coming. So there is a try block that is used. So first of all, the main function will be starting, then take the two variables, that is A and B, then simply print on the screen, that is entering the value, that is it is user defined, that is taking the value from the user of A and B, then scanning in the memory, that is A and the B, then int x equals to A minus B, that is the B value will be subtracted from the A, that is A minus B, and it is stored in the new variable, that is a x. Now or finding the problem, that is a try, if x is not equals to 0, yeah, this is very correct, it is not equals to 0, then see out result A oblique x, because if it is A divided by x, because if it is 0, then there is no way to divide by 0, because this that gives an exception, right? Then if it is not equals to 0, then result A divided by x, then this is A divided by x, that is it is printed, that is it is used, that is the A value will be divided by the x, that is this value, the first variable value will be divided by the x, that is the A minus B, right? Else if it is not the case, if it is not equals to 0, this is the case. Otherwise, if it is equals to 0, then simply throw the exception, because I said earlier that when the any number is divided by the 0, that is the exception. So if it is not the divided by 0, it is not equals to 0, then simply throws the exception, that is throws the int object. Now this is closed, else this is also closed, that is your try block. Now comes to the catch block. When it is thrown, first of all find the problem, that is divided, it is equals to 0, then catch the problem, that is throw the exception. Now it is catching the exception, so the catch block will be used. There is a catch, then there is a int I, the variable or the argument that is used is a int I. So catch block will be used, that is the catch is the exception. Now it is the curly braces that is used. Now it is printed cout exception code, that is the exception code means exception will be used, that x equals to x, that is the x variable will be printed, that is the x equals to whatever the value that is printed, that is stored in the x. So the subtraction of the A minus B will be stored in the x, so that will be used, or that will be given, or that will be stored in the x variable. Then this will be closed, then cout end, that is the cout end means this is printed on the screen, that is the end end, then there will be a return 0, there will be a return 0 because we are using the int main. So this program says first of all enter the value of by the user, that is A and B, then calculate the subtraction of these two values, that is the A and B. Now if the A and B value that is subtracted, that is stored in one variable. Now find out on that variable, find out the exception of that variable, that is if it is 0, then there is an exception. If it is not 0, then simply divide by the x, that is A divided by x, that is simply performing the operation. But if it is equals to 0, then simply throws the exception. This is the throw x, throws the exception. Then this is catch. When it is thrown, then it is cached, then it is simply printed cout exception code, and whatever the value x, that is a 0, that will be printed, then cout end. Now there are two runs of this program. First run, enter the values of A and B. User have entered the value as of 20 and the 16, that is 20 minus 16, 20 minus 16 is 4. Now there is a result, that is A by x, that is the Whatever the result, that is available, that is a divided by x. Now what is the value of a? That is a 20. This is 15 or 16. This is 15, I think. Yeah. So 20 minus 5 is 15. So now the x value is 5, because 20 minus 15 is 5. So whatever the value that is available, that is x equals to 20 minus 15, that is 5. Now it is not equals to 0. It is not equals to 0. Then simply prints result a divided by x. That will be printed like this one. Now finding out the a divided by x. Now the x value will be a value will be divided by the x. Now what is the a value? That is a 20. What is the x value? That is a 5. Now 20 divided by 5. That gives the output as a 4. So 20 divided by 5, that is 5 into 4 is 20. Now this is available. This is not going to the else part. Then there will be a C out end. That is the end will be printed. Right. Now next is the second run. That is the second run means this is the next example of the run, again using the control F9. These are the various values that is user defined by the user. That is the 10 and the 10. Now this is the 0. Now x becomes 0. This is x equals to 10 minus 10. That is 0. Now it is going to the else part. This is throws the exception, throw x, then catch int I, simply printed exception code. That is simply printed exception code. Now what is the value of x? That is x equals to, what is the value? That is a 0. Now there will be an end for printing purpose. This is the end. So these are the two values that is subtracted, and this is the output that is given 0, and then there will be an end. Right. So this is a program that shows the basic try, throw, catch, handle, block. Right. This paragraph says program detects and catches a division by 0 problem. That is, this is the problem that I have already told you that this is divided by 0 problem, because we are finding the subtraction of two numbers, and when it is divided by 0, that is 0 is whenever any number is divided by 0, that is known as exception. So this program detects and catches a division by 0 problem. That is, this is a problem that is divided by 0. Now what is divided by 0? So whenever we divide any number by 0, that gives the infinity value in the mathematics, but in programming that gives an error, that is known as the exception. So this is one of the important line, that is a program detects, this is a program, this is the example, that detects and catches a division by 0 problem. Right. Now next point says the output of first run shows a successful completion. That is, there is no error, there is no 0, that is a successful execution or completion. When no execution is, or no exception is thrown, that is, there is no exception, the catch block is skipped and execution resumes with the first line after the catch. So when there is no exception, then simply it resumes and it is skipped, and the execution resumes with the first line after the catch. In the second run, the denominator x becomes 0. That is the subtraction or subtracting the value that becomes 0, and therefore a division by 0 situation occurs. So there is a situation, there is a condition that occurs, that is division by 0. This exception is thrown using the object x. So there is an exception that is thrown, that is using the object x. Since the exception object is an int type, that is the exception object, that is the x is an int type, the catch statement containing int type argument catches the exception and display the necessary message. So this is the explanation of the program. We have already seen the program, that is how it is used. This is simply explaining the first run is a simple run, that is, there is a value that is 0 is not coming, so there are different values that is available, that is a successful execution. Next is, it is a 0, that is 10 minus 10 is 0, so this is used for we can say the unsuccessful execution that is used. Most often exceptions are thrown by functions, that is, exceptions are thrown by the functions that are invoked from within the try blocks. The point at which throw is executed is known as the throw point. So point at which the throw is executed or throw is used, that is known as the throw point. Once an exception is thrown to the cache block, so when it is thrown, then the exception or is thrown to the cache block, control cannot return to the throw point. That is, it cannot return to the throw point that is shown in the program example. This is example. This is a diagrammatical representation. So let's take a break right now, then move to the practical approach of the last chapter, that is a template. There are so many programs that is left. So I've started with the, or I will start with the programs of the template chapter, right? So let's stop over here. Let's take a break, then move to the practical part. So let's take a break first of all. So come back from the break. Now let's start the session again. Today, today I'm going to continue with your practical approach. So let's move to the practical approach of the template chapter. So this is a program that shows how to use the class definition or how to use the templates, that is with the multiple parameters. That is how to use the template with multiple parameters, that is we have studied in a theoretical way. So it starts with the hash include iostream.h. Then there will be a template that will be defined that contains two, that is a T1 and T2, right? Then there will be a class that is defined, that is a text class. Now there is a T1 and there is a one template that is used, then T2, then B. Now in a public part it is defined as a test. This is the test. Then in bracket it is T1 x T2 y. Then A equals to x, B equals to y. Then one function will be used, that is a void show function. Then cout A and B, that is the A and the B will be printed, right? Now this class will be closed with a semicolon. Now there is a int main, that is the starting of the main. Then test float comma int, then test 1. There are two values that is given, 1.23 and the 123. Now in the same way there is another test that is used, that also contains two data type, that is the int and the char. Then there will be a test 2, then 100 and the w. Now two function will be called, that is the test1 dot show. Now next test2 dot show. Now there will be a return 0 and then there will be a get ch. then there will be a return 0. Now if I compile this code, there are 7 errors in this. Oh my goodness, this is unexpected. Why this is unexpected? Because we have defined the C as a capital we have used, not T as a capital. Now there is only one error. Believe there are 6 errors of only class, that is C will be capital. Now again the same error, the data type is not included. That is one more header file, that is a conio.h. Now if I compile, there will be a success. If I execute, these are the two values that is printed, that is 1.23 and the 123 and the 100 and the W. There is no space between these. Now let's do a space. Now this is again this one 100 and this one. So if I use tab over here, again use tab over here. Now if I compile, that will show with the gap, right? So this is just a hit and try, that is how to use. This is CLR SCR. Now if I compile again, this is the 1.23 and the 123 and the 100 and the W. There are two lines that the value will be printed. Now let's see what is the program, what it means. First of all, I save this program so that this program is not vanished. This is already available file. Now again, this is template 1. Now this is the program that shows how to use the class template with multiple parameters. That is, there are multiple parameters that is used with the same class. Till now we have studied how to use the template that is with only one argument, with only one parameter. Now this is a template with multiple argument, that is there are more than one argument that is used. It starts with two header files. One is the hash include iostream.h, one is the hash include conio.h. There are two header files. Next there will be a template that will be defined in the earlier stage, that is at the starting. There is a template class T1, class T2. So there are two, we can say the object that is declared, that is the class T1 and the class T2, right? Then there will be a class test, that the new class will be defined, or the new class will be created, or new class will be declared, that is a test. Now take the variable of the template type T1. So there are two arguments that is used, there are two variable that is used, that is the T1 and the T2. So these are the two variables. This is the T1 and the T2. For class T1 there is a class 1 class, this is the 2 class, there are multiple parameters, and A is taken, or A is used as an object of the class T1. In the same way, the B will be used as a object of the, or the variable of the class T2. So this is T1A and the T2B. Now next is the public part, that is it is publicly declared, that is a test T1x comma T2y. That is the test will be the function that is used, and there are again two parameters that is used, that is the T1x, that is the x is of T1 type and the y is of T2 type. Then a equals to x. So whatever the value that is given by the user, that will be assigned to the a. So this is the user defined, that is the whatever the value that is given, that is assigned to the a. In the same way, whatever the value of y, that will be assigned to the b. Now a and b contains a value, that is a x and the y value, right? Now next is simply show function, that is showing the output. Then it simply uses cout a, then t, there is a tab, then and, there will be and, we can say the and keyword, then again there is a tab, again there is a value of the b. So this is a, then there is a gap, then the and keyword will be used, then there is a tab, that is a gap, and then the b value will be printed. Then /n for moving to the next line if there is any other output. Then the show function will be closed, then the class will be closed with the curly braces, and there will be a semicolon, right? Then there will be a int main, that is the starting of the main. Then there is a test float int, that is a test, we can say the test keyword will be used. Then there are two data type that is used, that is the float and the int. Then test1 1.23 123, so these are the two data types. We assume that this is float, this is int, this is int, this is char, this is int, this is char, right? So from t1 test1, this value will be gone as a x, and the y value will be used as a 1 2 3. And for this one, int value will be used, that is the x value will be used as a int, that is 100, and the y value will be used as a character, that is w. So these are the 2 points that is used, that is passing the value, that is referencing the values. Then clear screen for clearing the screen. Then the show function will be called for showing the result, that is a test1 dot show. Simply show the output like this output, right? Then test2 dot show, again this is the output that is given, that is this is the output. Then there will be a get ch, then there will be return 0. Now if I again compile this code, the same error or the same output will be displayed. This is the program that shows how to use the multiple templates. Now, is there any doubt anyone about this program? Any doubts anyone about this program? Hello? Yeah, any doubts? Yeah, Larry, any doubts to you? So this diagram shows that what is the throw point, try point, catch block. So we have discussed one practical approach also, that is how to use the class template with multiple parameters. And this is a diagrammatical representation. So this I'm taking in the next class. So let's stop over here only and finish the class. And if there is any doubts about the practical approach, theoretical approach, you can feel free to ask from me any doubts anytime, right? So that's all for today's session. Tomorrow